It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful, very, very versatile and very talented musician out of the New York, New Jersey area. He's the author of Shadows of the Night, and also, yes, he also did the original before Pat Benatar made it very famous. He's had several albums out with a number of releases, and of course, just critically acclaimed. He has a very interesting story to tell as well, too. We'll talk about the book, we'll talk about his music and more, too, and he's just an influence on a lot of people, including my daughter. We talked about this off the air. So live, ladies and gentlemen, from the New York, New Jersey area, from beautiful city that never sleeps, and this guy just goes 24/7. Ladies and gentlemen, D.L. Byron. D.L., good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, how are you, Mike? Thanks for having me.
Hey,
Great to be here.
Hey, I'm doing great. It's great to have you as well, too. So you're basically a musician. You've been around for quite a long time, and your first album, This Day and Age, came out in 1980, which was quite influential with quite a number of people. You wrote Shadows of the Night, later done by Pat Benatar, which made it famous. Right. You also have a book out by the same name, and you're also signed by Clyde Davis of Arista, and you also have a number of albums like Exploding, Plastic Inevitable, It's, Live, and Dancing the Sky, and more. And before we get into all of that, tell us how I got started.
How I got started? Well, I got started just coming to New York with virtually no money in my pocket, not knowing anybody, $200 in my pocket, a week's worth of clothing, and a guitar. And I checked into a sleazy sort of hotel on the Upper West Side for $45 a week with a sink at the foot of the bed. And I started playing around in the Village on open mic nights. And then one thing led to another, and I met some people who were professional songwriters. I started hanging around with them, and eventually I got signed as a songwriter with a major publisher, just sort of a staff writer, basically. And it turned from there. It went on, and eventually I was finally discovered by Clive Davis and then signed to Arista. And, right a couple of years after that is when I actually wrote Shadows of the Night for my second record, as well as I wrote it for a film called Times Square. I can get into that later, but Shadows of the Night was written for my second record, but the record wasn't actually going to happen, apparently. So I started shopping it, and I shopped it to a number of people. Helen Schneider had a hit with it in Germany, first off. It went 5 times platinum over there.
Wow.
And then eventually it got to Benatar. I took a meeting with somebody I knew, an A&R guy in New York City, and at her label, Chrysalis, and pitched it, and she ended up doing it miraculously, and it was a gigantic hit.
That is amazing. We'll get to listen to your version in just a minute as well, too. And of course, the listening audience can be the judge and the jury in this one, too. So we have that as well, too. And what was that one moment that precisely influenced you into being a musician?
Whew, that's tough. Probably the most seminal moment was probably seeing the Beatles on TV for the first time.
Oh, wow.
On the Ed Sullivan Show. I don't think I ever recovered from that.
Has anybody? I mean, what? February 9th, 1964? Does that ring a bell to anybody?
That sounds right. Yeah. That was quite a night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, taken with that, and my parents were scared to death.
Really? What,
yeah.
What were they scared of? The Fab Four taking over, or you turning into the fifth Beatle? What were they scared of?
I don't know. They'd never seen anybody like that. With these guys on TV with their hair and their boots and the stuff. So it was just it was unusual for them, but they got over it, I think.
Yeah, that had to be very interesting too. I'm sure my folks would have done the same thing, man. Besides the Beatles, who were your other favorite artists, singers, and musicians growing up?
A lot of the early, British bands, the British Invasion bands. I was a big Byrds fan. Of course, they're a West Coast band, but in fact, I'm sort of like really into the electric 12-string guitar as a result of that band. Rickenbackers especially, because that's what Roger McGuinn played in the band. But I've been influenced by a lot of writers over the years, and everybody from the Beatles to Elvis Costello to Bob Dylan to I don't know. There's a lot out there. There's a lot out there who influenced me. Mm-hmm. David Bowie, all kinds of people.
And of course, we'll also talk about, some of your other works as well, too. We'll play one of your songs as well, too, going back to 1980 with Shadows of the Night. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with musician and author of Shadows of the Night, D.L. Byron, from the New York, New Jersey area here on the Mike Wagner Show. Being born and raised in southern New Jersey and raised by adoptive parents, moved to New York City in 1971 and talked about the times of living in hotels, going from place to place and working to get some gigs and being signed by Clive Davis and Arista as well, too. And when you had your meeting with Clive Davis as well, too, what was it like, working for Clive? And also, what was it like, just have some of the music out there and maybe just describe your time with Arista Records?
Well, it was interesting. They were expecting a lot out of that first record. And we had gone incredibly over budget, and I think that they, rather than hire out-of-house promotion, they relied on in-house promotion. And for some reason, the album was doing really, really well. And I was on tour. I was opening for the Boomtown Rats and Bob Seger at one point.
Oh, wow.
Things just kind of fell apart for a while. And then I was sort of told that I was on suspension, which is sort of like stop the clock on the contract, which I didn't even know that they could do.
Really? And, I never heard of that rule.
Yeah, me either. I had this 2-album deal, and I never even knew that there was a way that they could just stop the clock. But so during the course of my sort of hiatus, self-imposed or imposed hiatus, I started writing songs, and one of them was Shadows of the Night. I originally wrote it because my producer, Jimmy Iovine, came to me and said, look, I'm working on this film called Times Square, which was a Robert Stigwood film. Stigwood, of course, had done Saturday Night Fever, and this was supposed to be the punk Saturday Night Fever, basically.
Uh-huh.
And Jimmy wanted me to write the theme song. So I went home and I wrote the song, and he loved it, and we demoed it, and demoed it again, and made a really good demo of it. And I turned it into Clive Davis, and he said it wasn't commercial enough.
Really? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Don't tell that to Pat Benatar.
Yeah, I know. So then I sort of got, a little disconcerted, and I started to shop the song, waiting to hear back from Jimmy if it was going to be in the soundtrack, which it didn't end up happening that way. But I ended up doing something else for that particular soundtrack anyway, so it worked out okay. But, I just started pitching the song because if I didn't feel like if they were understanding what I was doing, maybe I shouldn't be worrying about it, and I should just look elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So I pitched it to Benatar's people, and forgot about the meeting, actually. And then 9 months later, my phone rings, and yeah, it's us. She's going to do the record. She's going to do the song, rather. And, it's all happening.
And, of course, she also said, hit me with your best shot, too. So,
yeah, she was already pretty well established. So it was great for me. It was wonderful.
It was, too. And let's go ahead and play this version of Shadows of the Night from D.L. Byron right here on The Mike Wagner Show.
It's a cold world for the restless and the young. They say slow down, it's a showdown, but our time will surely come. The hungry hunter, he makes his laws with the barrel of a gun. We're running through the shadows of the night, so come and take my hand, we'll be alright. And if I have to stand alone and fight, I will win in the end. And I'm so tired of hearing lies, how our parents misspent their youth. Now they get old and they stay at home with their Valiums and vermouth. You know we gotta make a life somewhere, we gotta get out of this trance. We're running through the shadows of the night, so come and take my hand, we'll be alright. And if I have to stand alone and fight, I will win in the end. You know you gotta take a stand sometime. It takes guts to live in this world. We're running through the shadows of the night, so come and take my hand, we'll be alright. And if I have to stand alone and fight, I will win in the end. We're running through the shadows of the night, so come and take my hand, we'll be alright. And if I have to stand alone and fight, I will win in the end. We're running through the shadows of the night, so come and take my hand, we'll be alright. And if I have to stand alone and fight, I will win in the end.
D.L. Byron, Shadows of the Night here on the Mike Wagner Show. And this also translates into a book as well, too. And also with the song as well, too. And what inspired you to write that song? And what was that one moment that say, hey, I'm going to write this?
Well, again, it was Jimmy Iovine coming to me, who had just finished producing my record, and he got into a project after that, doing the soundtrack for the Times Square movie by Robert Stigwood, and he asked me. He just gave me the storyline. Basically, rich girl, poor girl runs away together, and they hang out on this pier in New York City and start communicating strangely with this late night DJ played by Tim Curry. And the movie wasn't so great, but anyway, I went home and I wrote the song just based on what he told me. He said, here's the storyline. And I sat down and it was done in 20 minutes, literally. It was one of those songs that you don't really work on. It just comes through you. It's a very amazing thing.
It is amazing, too. And also, it's the same name of a book as well, too. It's about a gifted young man endured a tormented childhood at the hands of his mentally troubled adoptive mother, and until his birth mother had died to give him life. He showed the blame, yet still found strength to attempt the impossible. And about the book, tell us a little bit more about that and what inspired you to write the book.
Well, the book is basically not only about my adventures and misadventures in the music business, but it's about my adoption story, or more specifically my adoption trauma story, which I think it's a real issue that maybe is not on everybody's radar, but we should be having a conversation about this adoption trauma, because it's a real thing. And it's my mother wasn't quite prepared for an adopted child. She had some psychological difficulties, and she was tormented in herself. Had some drug problems, prescription drug problems that I later found out about. And my childhood was not easy. It was a place that I really wanted to get out of, and that's what prompted me to go to New York City and get into the music business and find my own way. I never gave up the idea, though, that my birth mother was alive. When I was about 8, I asked my adoptive mother, what had happened, or why did I look like my parents more specifically. And she said, well, you're adopted, and that means you're special, but your birth mother died in childbirth. And that hit me like a ton of bricks, but I never wanted to believe it. And through all my adventures in the music business, all those years of, sort of finding my way and finding success and doing great things, I never gave up the idea that my mother would be alive. And one day I would actually find her. And in the late 90s, that actually came to pass. And it turns out that I not only found her alive, but I have 7 sisters.
Wow,
well.
7 sisters? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, seven sisters. It's like winning the lottery.
Oh, my goodness. And they look at you, it's just like, how come you didn't come to all these parties and everything? Or good thing you didn't play with Barbie dolls or something like that.
Oh, my, yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, you also had, you basically did find it. He served as a guiding light, discovered himself in true spiritual sense, which is you, making peace with the past and paving way for big success as well, too. And, of course, between this day and age and also up till now. And what are some of the other, projects you've also worked with?
The other projects I've worked with, there have been lots of them, but I've written a lot of songs with a guy you may know. His name is Benny Mardones. Mm-hmm. He had a big hit called Into the Night. We were co-writers for a number of years. We wrote a lot of stuff. I wrote most of the stuff on his records. I've written with John Wade. I've written with and for a lot of people. And over the years, actually, I've enjoyed just a wonderful career, which I don't think is over yet, but it's been great so far. It's been great.
Yeah, it sounds like really great too. And of course, we'll play one of your hits in just a minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with multi-talented musician D.L. Byron, also author of Shadows of the Night here on the Mike Wagner Show. And we have his first release out, which is called This Day and Age, came out in 1980. Here's the first track, Listen to the Heartbeat, with D.L. Byron right here on the Mike Wagner Show.
I might get stuck. Listen to the heartbeat. said, I'm in love. Listen to the heartbeat, the heartbeat. She's a mama's girl, but she doesn't scold. My face gets numb and my teeth get cold, but I'm gonna push a limit before I get too old. Listen to the heartbeat, the heartbeat. Listen to the heartbeat, the heartbeat. Gonna dance all night, can't get enough. Listen to the heartbeat, the heartbeat. 'Cause you never can tell when your number's up. Listen to the heartbeat, the heartbeat. Well, I kiss her on the neck and she bit my tongue. She might look dead, but her heart is young. She's gonna pull my trigger, better hold my gun. Listen to the heartbeat, the heartbeat. 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 When I never get tired, it's a little love, and she's really handy with a rubber glove. I get her and she gives me show. The heartbeat, the heartbeat. Listen to the heartbeat, the heartbeat. Listen to me, the heartbeat. Listen to the heartbeat, the heartbeat.
Yeah, D.L. Byron, listen to the heartbeat here on the Mike Wagner Show. 1980, my goodness. I certainly listened to that one. Tell us more about that song. What inspired you to write this great classic? I love it.
That's when, the sort of the new, it was right on the cusp of punk when it became new wave, or when new wave happened. So that was sort of like, that was the era at that time. It was sort of that power pop kind of, almost like, Sex Pistols, Ramones kind of, but yet little Elvis Costello and Graham Parker and all those bands were all doing like sort of similar things, but yet very different, but all within sort of a basic genre, or a split genre. It was punk and then new wave, but they sort of did merge it at some point in time.
And of course, you also had some other music as well, too. 21st Century Man, Big Boys, Get With It, and more. Am I Falling in Love Again Today, and more. You can tell us about some of those from your debut as well, too. Very impressive.
Yeah, well, it was that was the album really worked out really well. It was recorded by some great musicians. My band was wonderful, and we kind of lucked out. It turned out, the project just turned out much better than we could have imagined. It was great.
And of course, I still don't get the part about what was it, that so-called suspension after 2 albums. Is like, I'm still in shock with that. It's like, why in the world do they still put you on suspension? It's like, you talked about it, but it's like, I still don't believe it.
Well, stuff like that happens. It's just, I think that they felt they had spent so much money on the budget that they didn't want to spend it on promotion. And when the album didn't, it was all over the radio. That single, "Listen to the Heartbeat," was everywhere, especially in some major cities like New York, Cleveland, Boston, Philly, Chicago, Detroit. It was doing really well as a single, and the album was, went top 40.
You also had some releases too, called Satori, and you also had some singles on there: "Number One God," "Everywhere I Go," and "Paint by Numbers" and more. But you can tell us about some of those songs from Satori.
Okay, well, Satori is a fairly recent record that is a little more introspective, I think, and sort of eclectic. It's got a different sound than my previous records. I worked on it for a very long time, so I really wanted it to be something special, and I believe I picked the right songs and produced them properly, and I think the album sounds great, and I'm pretty happy about it.
Mm-hmm. You also have B as well, too, and you also got $100 Million, Dead Clowns, See a Stranger, Silver Sunday, and tell us about some of those.
Well, that was just sort of an earlier period. That was just my daughter had just been born a few years earlier, and my head was in a completely different place. I was like suddenly a father, and I was just thinking differently. So I don't know how to better describe it, but it affected my work as a result, and that particular record boa. She's wearing a boa. On
a boa. I see. It looked like it said
boa.
"be in the minutes." It's like it says boa.
Yeah,
okay.
There's a picture of my daughter riding a little tricycle with a big pink boa around her neck. It's really cute.
Oh my gosh! You know what? That kind of looks like my daughter in a way. She likes to wear one of those boas and on a tricycle as well too. So yeah.
So anyway, that's why I named the album Boa. But it was just a different period of my life. I mean, each record I think is they're drastically different, yet very much the same. I mean, you can just still tell it's me, you know. But each one's a little bit different.
It sounds like you experiment with different styles, like Plains Clothes. You do it in an acoustical version. You also have Dancing in the Sky, which looks like you got some really good ones. And well, we're not doing that one yet. That's later. You've done Live and and you also have the one Exploding Plastic Inevitable, which have Shadows of the Night on there. And tell us more about that album.
That was the first real full-blown record that I did after the Arista record. I basically started my own indie label and started putting out my own records. And that was the first one. It was done in the late 90s, I believe.
Oh, that's interesting. Cable Guru, The More You Learn, Witching Moon, and everything else. And you know what? I'm going to ask you on the whim. Which one from that album would you like me to play right now? Take your pick.
Oh, well, you know, actually, from that record, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind playing Dancing in the Sky.
Dancing in the Sky. Okay, all right. Well, we can get to that right here. Dancing in the Sky from D.L. Byron right here on the Mike Wagner Show.
Sometimes I get a worried mind that I just can't break through. It's unkind for me to cross that line and lay the blame on you. 'Cause I know when you're here with me, everything's alright. Your bright eyes, they reflect my soul when darkness fills the night. So come and take my hand. We'll let the world go by. We'll sing Amazing Grace and go dancing in the sky. So come and take my hand. We'll let the world go by. We'll sing Amazing Grace and go dancing in the sky. When you're young, you might never dream that your time would end. It's so wrong when precious moments stray with no love to lend. People change like the seasons do. Nothing stays the same. And that's why it's right that you should know that I still feel the flame. So come and take my hand. We'll let the world go by. We'll sing Amazing Grace and go dancing in the sky. When the stars fall down from the sky, I'll put them back in place. When the world seems to turn away, I'll say these words that time can't erase. So come and take my hand. We'll let the world go by. We'll sing Amazing Grace and go dancing in the sky. So come and take my hand. We'll let the world go by. We'll sing Amazing
Dancing in the Sky, D.L. Byron here on the Mike Wagner Show. That kind of reminds me of the Byrds, Bob Dylan, and the bands Mr. Bojangles just all coming together. That was just so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you.
And
that's
too,
sort of what I was going for.
And also, too, with Dancing in the Sky, tell us a little bit more about the song and what inspired you to write the song.
Well, I had written it. My birth mother passed away in 2015, in July of 2015. And I had written that song, I think, in March or April. And another one of those songs that just comes through you in like 20 minutes. All of a sudden it's there. It was the only song that I wrote that year for some reason, which is really unusual for me. And I never really could figure out what the song was about until my mom passed away. And then I realized that it was about her. And I wound up having the honor of playing it at her funeral. And I thought, I should record it and get the message out there. I thought it was, it was written for her, so it's kind of special, I guess, to me.
Wow. That was amazing. I have to say that. Just beautiful and well written.
Well, thank you.
And of course, too, I just had to, a couple more minutes with D.L. Byron here on the Mike Wagner Show. What are your upcoming plans for 2020 later on?
Right now, I'm working on talking to people like yourself about the book. I'm trying to get the message out about Shadows of the Night. You can buy it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Shadows of the Night. That's like the song. Mm-hmm. I think the book is about two things basically. Everybody comes here with a gift, for one, and two, never give up on your dream. Never give up on anything. Mm-hmm. I never gave up. I never gave up on my pursuit of the music business, and it paid off really well. And I never gave up on finding my birth mom, who I knew in my heart was alive. I just never gave up. Uh-huh. Eventually, I did find her, and I found an entire family. Mm-hmm. So,
and that's amazing. And were your sisters surprised to see that you're a singer and you've got so much great music out there? And what were your thoughts when they found out, hey, we have a really famous singer-songwriter out here? What were their thoughts when they found out that you wrote Shadows of the Night? What were their first thoughts?
My family, you mean?
Your seven sisters, yes.
Yeah. It was a big deal. I guess it was a big deal, but I didn't want it to be all about that. I wanted it to, to be just more on a personal level, which of course it is. And we've, we're pretty close and we stay in contact all the time on social media. We text each other and call each other and get together on holidays and stuff like that. It's really, it's been amazing, but, they were really open to finding me, and they let me in with just an open reception, and of course when they found out I did Shadows of the Night, it was like sort of gravy, I guess. But it was all good. It was a great thing.
It sounds like it's all good as well too. And do you have any plans for an upcoming 2020 tour?
I've been with what's going on right now. I'm canceling things, but.
Before the whole virus hit.
Yeah, but as soon as things clear up, I'm going to be out there. I've been doing a lot of solo acoustic performances, and I'll continue with that as soon as things clear up, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And as soon as things clear up, where will you be touring?
Probably in the greater Northeast, most likely. I did Philly a couple of months ago. I just did something here in the city 2 weeks ago, and I was about to do something at a really nice venue out in Long Island in April, but that was the first one to go. So that got canceled. So, I think every musician who performs and depends on doing that for at least part of their living is really having a hard time right now. Mm-hmm. But everything will be fine, I'm sure.
That's totally understandable, too. And, of course, you had your moments on stage. You already talked about your defining moments, and I could tell you some defining moments. And what would you consider most funny or weird moment you had either on stage or in the recording studio or maybe just somewhere along the way in your career?
Well, an interesting anecdote would be the first time I opened for the Boomtown Rats. It was at this place in Philadelphia. His name escapes me now. It was about a 5,000-seater. Oh, the Tower Theater. That's what it was. And the record was kind of doing really well. And they were on their Fine Art of Surfacing tour. That was the album that he was promoting. And the last song of our set, they pulled the stage monitors, so I couldn't hear myself.
Oh, no.
This is like an old sabotage trick. So I realized something was going on, and I stepped back into the band just to hear what key I was supposed to be singing in, because I was, singing, and I could not hear myself. So at the end of the song, the audience went, really nuts. And I walked over to the side where the sound guy was. He was off in the wings, and I started swinging the microphone like I was just going to toss it on the stage. And he came out of the wings as though he was trying to catch it, and I tossed it, and it thudded around the floor right by his foot. And he got really, really upset at me, and started screaming. And I just said, no, sorry, you guys just tried to really mess us up. I don't care, And I just walked off the stage. But things like that happen.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you guys did really well, too, despite all the obstacles being thrown at. And I'd say you're just a great inspiration. Love to have you back on, talking more about the book. And we encourage you to come out with other material. Love to have you back on. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Oh, that would have to be split up between Beatles and Bob Dylan, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Never give up. Be as tenacious as you can. You have to have a really thick skin. Never give up.
And I think that's very critical as well, too. Once again, musician and author of Shadows of the Night, D.L. Byron here on Mike Wagner Show. D.L., just want to give a big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. And one more thing, tell us about your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact you, and where can people purchase or listen to music or pick up Shadows of the Night?
Well, you can do all of that at dlbyron.com. It's all one word, dlbyron.com. My music is all there. There's also, you can scroll down and find the book and press a little button, and it'll take you right to Amazon. You can purchase the book, or you can just find it on Amazon yourself. Just Shadows of the Night, D.L. Byron book, or book, whatever. Just Shadows of the Night book, whatever. That should get you there.
That's fantastic. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say dlbyron.com.
dlbyron.com. Okay, great. Just want to say, DL, a big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date, and look forward to having you again sometime in 2020 or beyond that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.